From first chapter, 39th verse onwards. Okay. Nisha Mataji, would you like to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, I will read Mataji. Bhagavad Gita 1.39. कुलक्षये परनश्यन्ति कुला धर्मा सनातना धर्मे नास्ति कुलं प्रश्नम् अधर्मो विवृद्धि uta synonyms. Kulakshay is in destroying the family. Pranashyanti become vanquished. Kula Dharma, the family traditions. Sanatana, eternal. Dharme, religion. Naste, being destroyed. Kulam, family. Krasnam, whole. Adharma, irreligion. Abhibhav, Abhibhavati, transforms. Uta, it is said. Translation. With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in the irreligion. But in the system of Varnashram institution, there are many principles of religious tradition to help member of the family grow properly and attain spiritual values. The elder family are responsible for such purifying processes in the family, beginning from birth to death. But on the death of the elder members, such family traditions of purification may stop, and the remaining younger family member may develop irreligious habits and therefore lost their chance of for spiritual salvation. Therefore, for no purpose should the elder members of the family be slain. Hare, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Okay. So, yes, so what is Arjuna further saying with the destruction? Another reason he is giving that if all the elder members of the family who are mostly assembled on the side of Duryodhan, like Bhishma Dev, Dronacharya, and so on, with the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. What does it mean? Purport Prabhupada mentions in the system of the Varnashram institution, there are many principles of religious traditions. So there are many um, traditions, in our families, mostly in India. There are so many religious traditions. For what reason? To help members of the family grow properly and attain spiritual values. So Vedic culture, spiritual values were also given right from the very beginning of childhood. In the present age, it's not very much it's practically inexistent in one sense, but in the Vedic culture, spiritual values were also given right from the childhood. So the elder members are responsible for such purifying processes in the family, beginning from birth to death. So there are different purificatory processes, samskaras, what we say. But on the death of the elder members, such family traditions of purification may stop, and remaining younger family members may develop irreligious habits and thereby lose their chance for spiritual salvation. So, that is one reason Arjuna is trying to give not to fight the battle, because if the elder members are killed on the battlefield, then who is going to guide the younger generations? So, this is practically he is giving all the reasons from a material point of view in different ways. But again, when Krishna will start to speak in the second chapter onwards, we will see how whatever Krishna wants, so that is all in all. That's a greatest morality, and that's a greatest. That's the only dharma. So okay, next verse, we'll go to next verse. 40, verse number 40. So this is another point Arjuna is making. Okay, Neelam, I am not sure. Neelam Singh, what's your real, I mean, name? Because Hare Krishna, I don't remember messaging or.
Hare Krishna Mataji, may I repeat?
Yes, Mataji.
अधर्माभिभावत कृष्णा प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रिया स्त्रीषु दुष्टासु dominated. Kulastriya, family ladies, Strishu, by the womanhood, Dastasu, being so polluted. Varsneya, O descendant of Varshni, Jayate, come into being. Varna Sankara, unwanted progeny. Translation. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Varshni, comes unwanted progeny. Purport. Good population in human society is the basic principle for peace, prosperity, and spiritual progress in life. The Varnashram religion's principles were so designed that the good population would prevail in society for the general spiritual progress of a state and community. Such population depends on the chastity and faithfulness of its womanhood. As children are very prone to be misled, women are similarly very prone to degradation. Therefore, both children and women require protection by the elder members of the family. By being engaged in various religious practices, women will not be misled into adultery. According to Chanakya Pandita, women are generally not very intelligent and therefore not trustworthy. So, the different family traditions of religious activities should always engage them, and thus their chastity and devotion will give birth to a good population eligible for participating in the Varnashram system. On the failure of such Varnashram dharma, naturally the women become free to act and mix with men, and thus adultery is indulged in at the risk of unwanted population. Irresponsible men also provoke adultery in society, and thus unwanted children flood the human race at the risk of war and pestilence. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Okay, so yeah, further what Arjuna is giving the reason. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted. So the previous verse we saw, okay, there will be no elder members, then there will be no one to guide the younger ones, and so irreligious practices will become prominent in the family, and that will lead to the woman in the family will become polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood or descendant of Vrishni comes unwanted progeny. So chastity of woman, it gives rise to good progeny. So purport, good population in human society. So that Prabhupada is bringing that point that for a good population, um, it depends upon the chastity of the woman. So good progeny would come who will maintain or lead to will lead a religious life and will lead to peace and prosperity in the society, along with spiritual progress. So in the Varnashram system, it's so designed, it is designed in such a way that materially also one can progress, at the same time spiritually also they progress, as a individually as well as in a community. Such population depends on the chastity and faithfulness of its womanhood. So, free intermingling of women with men, that is what in the present day is leading to so many irreligious activities, or the cases like divorce and all these things. But in the Vedic culture, there's nothing called divorce in the Vedic culture. There is no such word existent. So, um, as children are very prone to be misled, women are similarly very prone to degradation. It is said that children, women, old men, old people, they are protected in the Vedic culture. They were protected. Special attention was given to their protection. Hmm? Because they are very, just like children. If a stranger shows a toffee to a child, the child can be easily misled by the stranger, and sometimes may go along or eat that thing, and may lead to some kind of problem and so on. In the same way, women are also very simple in one sense, so it's very easy for unscrupulous men to exploit them. Therefore, both children and women require protection by the elder members of the family. By being engaged in various religious practices, women will not be misled into adultery. According to Chanakya Pandit, women are generally not very intelligent and therefore not trustworthy. Now, this could be a controversial thing. For someone may say, "Oh, how it is like not very intelligent and all." So this is not from a material point of view or something, but in general, um, just the example of the small children. Small children can be misled by a stranger or so. Similarly, women also need protection, otherwise they could be easily, misled by some unscrupulous men. So, in that sense, it is said. So, the different family traditions of religious activities should always engage them, and thus their chastity and devotion will give birth to a good population eligible for participating in the Varnashrama system. Now, when it comes to becoming devotees of the Lord, Vaishnavas, um, we understand that the men or women or humans or animals or trees, these are different bodies we have got as per our previous karmas, but qualitatively we are all same spiritual beings, part and parcels of Krishna. So if we can actually come to that to that self-realized platform, then we um, we need not be worrying about I'm a male or I'm a female or some like that. So there's a pastime in this regard. Something like this was being discussed, I think, during Prabhupada's time. So um, some Mataji, some disciple of Prabhupada or some devotee asked um, about this. I don't exactly remember. Something about this women are not very intelligent or not trustworthy, something like that. So Prabhupada said, um, if you think you are a woman, that means what? We have to come to the platform of when once we come to the platform of being actually self-realized, then we don't misidentify ourselves with our body. I'm a male or a female, I'm an Indian. These are all designations. But as long as we have a particular body, like we have a female body, so we should maintain certain restrictions as long as we have this material body at the same time. So there are certain, different ways we can understand this. On the failure of such Vanashram Dharma, naturally the women become free to act and mix with men. That's what is happening in the present day. And thus adultery is indulged in at the risk of unwanted population. Irresponsible men also provoke adultery in society, and thus unwanted children flood the human race at the risk of war and pestilence. That is practically we are seeing in the present day. Okay. Here. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, we were continuing 41st verse of first chapter. So, mm,
We were reading about women and children, Mataji.
yeah, 40th verse, I think, yes. Yes, so there was this point of women not very intelligent and not trustworthy. So that is, uh, we discussed that just like children are prone to be misled by some stranger or someone. So women are, it's easy to manipulate a woman by some, unscrupulous men. In that sense, it is mentioned, and therefore, just like children and old people, women also need protection. So free intermingling of men women will lead to kind of adultery, will, and thus unwanted population. So that was Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport. So we'll go to the 41st verse now. Okay, I don't know how to share the screen. Maybe I will read it.
May I read, Mataji?
Okay, you have the text with you?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, yes, Mataji, you can read.
शङ्कारो नरकैर्वा कुलघनानं कुलस्य च पतन्ति पितरो येषां लुप्ता पिण्डोदकक्रिया क्रियाः synonyms sankara such unwanted children narkaya make of for hellish life eva certainly kula ghananam for those who are killers of the family, kulasya for the family, cha also patanti fall down, pitra for fathers, he certainly esam of them lupta stopped pinda of ring of food, udaka and water, kriya performances. Translation: an increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down, because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. Purport: according to the rules and regulations of fruitive activities, there is a need to offer periodical food and water to the forefathers of the family. This offering is performed by worship of Vishnu because eating the remnants of food offered to Vishnu can deliver one from all kinds of sinful reactions. Sometimes the forefathers may be suffering from various types of sinful reactions, and sometimes some of them cannot even acquire a gross material body and are forced to remain in substantial bodies as hosts. Thus, when remnants of prasadam food are offered to forefathers by descendants, the forefathers are released from ghostly or other kinds of miserable life. Such help rendered to forefathers is a family tradition, and those who are not in devotional life are required to perform such rituals. One who is engaged in the devotional life is not required to perform such acts. Simply by performing devotional service, one can deliver hundreds and thousands of forefathers from all kinds of misery. It is stated in Bhagavatam 11.5.41. Devarshi bhutapta nam pitram na kinkaro nayam ranicha rajan sarvatmana ya saranam sarnayam gato mukdam paritya kartam. Anyone who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, the giver of liberation giving up all kinds of obligation and has taken to the path in all seriousness, owns neither duties nor obligations to the demigods, sages, general living entities, family members, humankind, or forefathers. Such obligations are automatically fulfilled by performance of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Okay, so for the Arjuna is saying to Krishna, an increase. So previous verse we saw, um, how it, how killing, how the if the And if the elder members are killed, then there will be no one to guide the younger ones, and therefore there will be religious practices prevalent in the family. So the woman will be polluted, and that will lead to a unwanted population. And then what will happen? An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life, both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. So the ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performance of offering them food and water, which is you know, yearly, every year there is what is that called? They offer pinda and something to the ancestors, forefathers, and so on. So all those will be stopped. So that is what Arjuna is giving one of the reasons not to fight. Okay, the Purport Prabhupada mentions, according to the rules and regulations of fruitive activities, that is Karmakanda section, there is a need to offer periodical food and water to the forefathers of the family. Now, this offering is performed by worship of Lord Vishnu, and then the remnants of whatever food is offered to Lord Vishnu is given to the forefathers. That's how they get delivered from the sinful reactions. Now, because some ancestors, forefathers, may be suffering from some sinful activities, they may not be even having a gross body and may be living in ghostly bodies, but by receiving this remnants of prasadam, they will be delivered, or they will be freed. I mean, will get a better position, released from ghostly or other type of miserable life. Such help rendered to forefathers is a family tradition. So every yearly they perform. I know in our family also they used to perform every year something for grandfather and for grandmother, and like that. You all may also be having in your respective places. And those who are not in devotional life are required to perform such rituals, because now the Vedic scriptures, the Vedic scriptures are vast. It's huge. Like there are different kind of scriptures based on different modes of nature. Different people are. Some people are in mode of ignorance. Some are in mode of passion. Some are in mode of goodness. So for different kinds of modes, different natures of people, there are specific scriptures. There are scriptures for those who are into meat eating. Their scriptures recommend them, okay, you have to do like this, like this. If you want to eat meat, you have to offer it like this, something, you know, because they, at least they will follow certain regulation. Instead of indiscriminately eating meat or something, at least they'll follow certain some kind of regulations. That's why scriptures have certain rules and regulations for different kind of people. Now when it comes to performing these kind of rituals, for one who is not in Krishna consciousness, they have to perform, they should perform. Of course that's a different case, that in the present day, no, nothing is being followed as per the scriptures. No one is following any Vedic scriptures. We don't know what's mentioned in the Vedic scriptures, first of all. There's no question of following them. Such help rendered to forefathers is a family tradition. Okay. One who is engaged in the devotionals, now this is important for us. One who is engaged in devotional life is not required to perform such actions. So, all these rituals and everything is not needed when one is practicing Krishna consciousness. Simply by performing devotional service, one can deliver hundreds and thousands of forefathers from all kind of misery. So Prabhupada is quoting a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Anyone who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, the giver of liberation, giving up all kinds of obligations, and has taken to the path in all seriousness, means one who has taken Krishna consciousness, sincerely and seriously, owes neither duties nor obligations to demigods, sages, general living entities, family members, humankind, and forefathers. Such obligations are automatically fulfilled by performance of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, we all have obligations to practically everyone, to our parents, to our ancestors, to the sun god, for providing a son, to the different demigods, because different demigods, they provide us, sun or light, or our life, air, air, vayu, there, and we are all having obligations to different living entities, which is not possible to actually return it back to them. So we owe to practically so many living entities. So how to get free from such obligations? The only way is by bhakti. When one practices Krishna consciousness, when we are trying our best to please Guru and Krishna, because when Krishna is pleased, then all these demigods, all forefathers, ancestors, or whoever, all living entities, they are all parts and parcels of Krishna. So when Krishna is pleased, everyone else is pleased. Just like if you want to water, if you want to grow a plant, a flower plant or something, so you have to water at the root of that plant. You need not water the branches, the leaves, the twigs of the plant. No. If you put water at the root of the plant, the whole plant will get, all parts of the plant will get nourishment. Similarly, when we become Krishna conscious, then we can actually give our best service to all living entities and please all living entities. So that is why it was mentioned here that for one who is a devotee or one who practices Krishna consciousness seriously, they do not have to follow these rituals, or they are not obliged to anyone. So that was a very significant point for us to know. Okay, I will stop here. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, or else please at least share some points from today's verses. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I want to share one thought of my mind while reading these verses, that Bhagavad Gita is not about only war and Krishna and Arjuna, and it's far more than that. It also tells us about the society and how to live in society, and the rules of life and all that. I feel like that from today's verses. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for bringing that point. Yes, in this first chapter specifically, if we see, because Arjuna is giving different reasons for what a common person would give, that okay, I don't want to do this because of XYZ reasons we have. So practically, if we see, there are many such points in this first chapter, and Prabhupada, in his explanation, we get a little more clear understanding of how it was, things were prevalent in the Vedic culture. So in the present day, worship or certain rituals, they are considered as even Bhagavad Gita is considered as a kind of myth. Many people, even in India, they consider, okay, Krishna is just an ordinary person like us, isn't it? He was a king, but he's a human being like us. I mean, practically, I know such people, even in India. It's shocking to know that. But we, from these puppets, we get to know that what it was. I mean, nothing was blind faith. There was a reason why there were rules and regulations. Just like in the previous verses, it was mentioned, the women, there were certain rituals and regulations they had to follow, so that they can be engaged in those activities, and they will not be misled by irreligious practices or anything. So there was a reason for what all kind of why we have a kind of culture, or the Vedic culture, why it was set up like that. So but higher principle than that is, when we take to devotional service, then our foremost focus is, am I pleasing Krishna by my thought, word, deeds in all times, places and circumstances. So wherever, in every purport, if we see, Prabhupada is giving the general culture and everything, but he concludes with, okay, if you become devotee, if one becomes a devotee, becomes Krishna conscious, then you surpass everything, or one comes to a much higher platform or transcendental platform, beyond all social conventions and all. So yes, thank you for that point, Mataji. Anything else? Anybody else has? Either you can unmute and speak, or you can write it in the chat box. If not, then we'll close for today. I think we covered till 41st verse. We'll continue next one. Tomorrow is Saturday. Tomorrow we may not have, but yeah, probably we'll meet again on Monday. But tomorrow and day after tomorrow, probably we'll have the morning japa session, because weekends we'll have the japa sessions. So I'll open up the japa sessions tomorrow morning. Thank you so much, Matajis, for all your association, for joining.
Mataji, when will we have next class?
Again, Monday.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Mataji, send with Pranam.